All right, guys, what's going on? Wake up! It's time to wake up. Okay, I'm just getting back to the computer here. I am definitely juggling a million things at once. And yes, I do have a lot on my plate. For anybody that's curious. And some of you guys that know us, you know what I'm talking about. So, what in the world is in my coffee? Oh, you know what? Dinner? I didn't eat dinner. Oh, wait. Well, actually, I did have a little bit of dinner. It was just real quick, though. It wasn't like I sat down or anything. I'm just running around eating while I'm eating. Trying to do stuff while I'm eating. Like, okay, so I do have a lot of things going on, and I wanted to share some of that with you guys. But, you know, there is a lot of things that are breaking in the news, and I wanted to go through some of that, too. I really didn't tell too many people here that I was going to be on here. It's just they're looking at it as, you know, as a stream that's just going to be going on. I was thinking about hitting all the other channels and letting people know so we can get people over here. But let's see. Let me see where we're at here. Let's try doing that. You know, I'm going to have to open up this door because this room has gotten really warm for some reason. Oh, so many things going on right now. And what is going to happen, I think something's big is brewing. And it's going to be here, too. You know, I keep telling you guys it's going to be in the homeland. I don't think it's just going to be over there. They're looking at the U.S. I think they got us in their sights. And Iran is going to, you know, whether they actually do facilitate these attacks or whether they're blamed, you know, as a scapegoat for, you know, for war to break out, it's probably somewhere in between, I think, because I think the U.S. has been wanting this war with Iran for quite some time. And, you know, when I say the U.S., I kind of think of us, U.S. and Israel, as just one and the same. You know, like our interests are intermingled so intimately, and that has a lot to do with who's actually in power here. My sock. Oh, hold on one second here. And so we're just kind of looking at the reality, the big picture, the reality of the big picture, not just trying to, you know, make political sense of it, because anybody can, you know, choose a side. And I'm not really choosing sides, actually. If you know me, you know that I'm not choosing sides on anything here. I'm just looking at, you know, I'm a you know, I'm looking at everything from kind of a different perspective. And I hope you're all doing the same, because really, you don't want to get caught up in the political games. Because really, no one really wins anyway. In the end, everybody loses. Because the kingdoms of this world, it says, will become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Christ, and he will ultimately rule and reign forever. And it's not going to be the way the Jews think. You know, they interpret their Old Testament differently than Christians should be interpreting the whole of the Bible in its context. Because God didn't stop speaking at Hosea, okay? And no, he didn't continue to speak to the wayward Jews that were dispersed for the last 2,000 years. He moved on. He moved on to the Gentile nations. Remember, Moses said, I was going to make you jealous by a people that were not a people, and that there would be another that would come after me, like unto me, and him you should heed, you should listen to. He's talking about Jesus. And Jesus fulfills many prophecies, but for some reason, the collective, you know, the Jewish faith at that time, the Jews awareness and discernment was so off that they missed their prophesied Messiah. And it's our prophesied Messiah as well, because it wasn't just for the Jews. It was for the whole world. This is very clearly stated in the scriptures, but they consider it to be a worldly, earthly kind of kingdom. It's not an earthly kingdom. Jesus did not come to set up an earthly kingdom, and the Messiah that was prophesied throughout all the Old Covenant was not to bring about an earthly kingdom. That was the mistake. That was the mistake that they made. That was the mistake that even the apostles made. They didn't even understand it either until Jesus died and then was resurrected. And then the Holy Spirit opened their minds to remember, to bring back to remembrance everything that he had told them, right? And then it made sense. Oh, wow. Then a little light went on. And then they started reaching out to the whole of the world. Well, first they went to the Jews. Remember, the gospel went to the Jews first. And I've looked into this, and I've heard that it said that for about 10 years, until they were first called Christians at Antioch, when that was when they were originally called Christians, was in Antioch. That was 10 years after Jesus rose from the dead. So the message was only going out to Jews at that time, even after the death, burial, and resurrection. It was only being preached to the Jews. Jews were, the early apostles were wondering about how this gospel could be accepted and received by Gentiles. The council that they had with Paul and Peter, and they were all wondering whether or not they should be circumcised. They have to become a Jew in order to accept the Holy Spirit. Well, they were getting the Holy Spirit without circumcision. They were getting the Holy Spirit without abiding by all the rituals of the Jews and the laws, or the traditions and the festivals and everything else. They didn't have to keep ceremonial clean. They didn't have to follow the ceremonial laws to be clean in order to receive the Holy Spirit. Remember, Peter, eat, kill and eat. It's a pig, Lord. I'll never eat that. Don't call unclean what the Lord has called clean. And if the Lord decides the Gentiles are clean, well, then you're supposed to receive them in. You're supposed to become one. Just like when you eat your food, you become one with your food. Well, that's what the Lord was saying to Peter. You take them in. You receive what you consider to be pigs because they're clean. Now, will you go out and eat pork? I don't know. Oh my goodness! Did you see how big that? Oh, this has got to be a repeat. Look at this. Let's go back and look at that again. Let's just take a little backward view there. Let's try to see that again. Oh shoot. Well, wait. I'm looking at the wrong feed here. I'm sorry. All right, let's look at that one more time. What do you say? Okay, let's look at that one more time without my big old face in the way. What is going on? What's going on? Hello, Jeffrey J. What's going on? Georgia, 12B, Lauren Lorenzo. Hello, live. And it was right, probably, it had to have been like sometime late morning, I think. West Coast time. I think this is just a repeat, what do they call it, a replay of what happened. So it's getting closer to daytime right now. Loren, right? Loren. Did I say it wrong before? How did I say it before? I've said it wrong before. Okay. Let's scroll it back here. So anyways, Chris Cooper, is it real time? No, but it is real life. Is this real life? Yes, this is real life. You're not on laughing gas here. Did you ever see that kid who has done that? Okay, I wanted to show you something here because I was talking about how 4th of July gone wrong. Did you ever see that video where all the 4th of July fireworks went off all at the same time? Did you ever see that? That absolutely amazing footage. Let me see if I can find that really quick. 'Cause I mean, people were literally far away. They were scared because it was such a big explosion. I'll just say 4th of July gone wrong. Oh, there's a lot of footage on these different this topic here. Oh my goodness. I didn't realize that so many people did so many stupid things with fireworks. Oh my gosh. Look at this. The firework that no one ever buys. It looks like a bomb. It's got a piece of rope for a wick. I got to see if this thing actually happens here. Let's see. Does this thing actually... Do they actually show this thing go off? This is... Wow, let me see if this thing... They made this thing go off here. All right. Anyways, I know I'm messing around. But lots of important things to talk about. Okay. My wife is chiding me right now, telling me I need to get back to the news. It's true, though. I probably should get back to the news. Okay, but did you guys see this? Did you guys see this picture of Elon Musk looking at Trump and shaking his hand? And he has he looks so evil in this picture. And he's literally, like giving his... look, you think about this. Elon Musk is setting up the Everything app. He is like one of the most important people probably on planet Earth that has all of this technology at his fingertips that he can muster. I don't know. I know the government is behind everything he's doing, but he's got SpaceX, he's got Tesla, all the battery technologies in cars. He's got the chip, the neural lacing chip in the brain, so that you're supposedly not going to go insane in the membrane. No, because the demons have to merge with us. Like he calls them a demon. He calls them demons. The AI has to merge with us in our brain in order for us so we don't be destroyed by it, right? So he says neural lace. We're going to put a chip in your brain. It's some kind of you don't really need an invasive surgery, he says. All you need is it to go in your veins and arteries. So it has something to do with your blood. It goes into coats your cerebral cortex, and it probably self-assembles. And then bam, you've got the interface to the Internet of Things. You become the Internet of bodies. If you don't know what that term is, go look it up. Internet of bodies. So the Internet becomes a part of your body. And you're going to have this Everything app, which is supposed to be worldwide. X is supposed to be a worldwide app where everybody's going to submit to this authority, this digital tracking, tracing, internal system. You're not going to have your cell phones. They say pretty soon your mobile phones are going to be obsolete. Your technology is going to be in your body. Okay. You're going to be able to look out your retinas and see a screen. You can think and make things happen because your brain can be trained. And I don't know how it all works. I mean, they're already doing it, but they can make things happen with your brain the way you think. And you train. It's like training the AI. It's like training the AI. You got to train the AI to understand who you are and what you're doing, and it'll understand the way you think. Like right now, I go on these chats. I had to do some stuff to get some stuff done, and I was talking to the AI, and I didn't even know I was talking to AI, but I had a feeling like this sounds, it's too fast. Like I put a question, or I say make a statement, and it responds so quickly, but it sounds so intuitively, like almost like it's a person. Like I'm thinking, is this really this is not a person. They responded way too quick, and then I scroll back, and the live person left the chat, so I didn't even realize they had left. And they sent me the information that said I'll send you a transcript, and that the AI took over the chat, and I didn't even know it. It was like talking like it was, but it was so fast. The reason I knew it was the AI was because as soon as I asked a question, bam, it responded. But it was an intuitive response. So the AI is becoming a lot more. Sorry, am I blasting out your ears? Anyways, the AI is becoming a lot more intuitive and a lot more aware and a lot more powerful as the days go on. And this technology is going to be in your body. You're going to be a node where you transmit and receive, and your body is going to power the new internet. Your body will charge it. It will be the energy behind what keeps it going. So Elon Musk is at the center of all this, not to mention Vance, the running mate of Trump. He's also at the center of this technology. He's got very big interests in a company that is on the cutting edge and is supposed to be at the forefront, the vanguard of all this. Don't you think that's kind of weird? You know, I don't think the media or the Democrats really got that. They were thinking Vance is just a weird, strange guy. You know, the first guy that has facial hair as a presidential candidate or vice president. Like who in the world has facial hair, trying to act like he's some kind of macho man? It's the weirdest pick. Why would he pick that guy? You know, like, well, because go look at his portfolio. Maybe maybe it'll make sense. You know, there's a lot intertwined there. So you gotta wonder, when Elon does this, what does this mean? Like, seriously, like, people don't really put two and two together, but tell me that this doesn't look evil. Tell me he don't look evil. Now, I know that, you know, he's a disarming kind of guy. You know, he's a disarming guy. He kind of makes you feel like he's just one of the guys. You know, he's got this kind of quirky personality, kind of a geeky personality, but kind of endearing. He has this like a little endearing kind of sense about him, but there's something more to it than that. There's something much more to it than what he's. You know, and I go back to what Alex Jones said before he started praising him and worshiping him because he let him back on X. It almost feels like dark energy. And look at that face. I mean, he's got the dark MAGA hat on. And somebody said, "Oh, Robert, that's just a play on Dark Brandon." No. Dark Brandon came after Dark MAGA, and Dark MAGA is legitimate. It's not a meme. Now, they try to say it's a meme, and Trump tried to downplay it, but there is vengeance, and there is retribution. Trump said, "I will be your retribution," remember? He said, "I will be your retribution." And the reason why they're doing what they're doing is because they want they want an environment where everybody is distrusting everybody. It's kind of like pre-World War II, going into World War II with the Germans, where they were all afraid of their neighbors. Their neighbor's going to turn them in. They don't want to do anything against the state. They don't want to be looked at as an enemy. Everybody has to be like, you know, so afraid that they're just willing to turn in anybody. And that's that environment that we're in right now. I think we're going into. And people are going to say, well, it's all the Democrats' fault. Well, yeah, the Democrats are pretty evil too. But don't tell me that the Republicans aren't. Look at that face, man. Make America great again with a dark hat. And then he calls it Dark MAGA. He says, "I'm here to bring Dark MAGA. Bring Dark MAGA back." Oh, man. That's just creepy. And you know Trump loves this because this is all according to what he wants. His agenda is all involved. This is the main part of his agenda. But anywho's, let's see. I didn't alert anybody. I just kind of came on here. Nobody knows I'm on. You guys just let everybody know. I'm not going to alert the whole network here. I'm just going to chat with you for a little bit. It's kind of informal chat. That's why nobody's really here right now. Where am I? Hold on one second here. You know, I keep forgetting that I'm on YouTube, but you know, YouTube, in our interest of paying bills is like 5 times, 10 times better than Rumble. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. Rumble's great, and I will do the streams that I have to do over there where I want to talk about things, but I sometimes forget over here. But anyways, we're definitely looking at being prepared and preparing everybody for what is to come. And that's why we did our store. That's why we're doing what we're doing at the store. And also, you're going to get behind what we're doing by getting ready through our store, right? You want to get freeze-dried food. You want to get solar equipment. You want to get 72-hour bags. We're putting those together right now. We're basically we got these really nice MRE packs. For anybody that's been military, you know what I'm talking about. They're those big, fat, different types of meals. They look really good, you know. But they last for a long time, and they're all ready to go. You just heat them up, and bam, we got the heating. We got the heating system, which is the stainless steel little micro ovens or stoves, and those just pop out. They become really nice and big, and you light your fire right there. It'll keep you warm. It'll also purify your water. You're going to need to purify water too, by the way. You better know how to do that, and it's got. What do they call them? Fire starters that are waterproof, along with a ferro rod. If you don't know what a ferro rod is, in case you're, you got a lighter that goes bad. How are you going to light a fire? Most people don't know how to, make a wood stick and start a fire like that. The old school way, the Indian way. You can't do that. Do you have matches? Well, the matches might have got wet. How are you going to do that? Well, you better have the ability to make some sparks and know how to use a spark. Okay, so you can use it no matter what happens. If your tinders get wet, it doesn't matter because they're a mixture of wax. You open them up, even if they're wet and they've been submerged in water, they'll still light. With a spark. With a spark! Okay, so you're always going to have a fire. You can take it in your backpack on the go. If you got to go, you got to leave, dodge because of some major crisis. And I'm going to tell you what, crises are coming to a town and a city near you. And you better have a plan on where you're going to go. I think we should set up like little city shelters, like little cities of refuge. I'm thinking where I'm at is pretty cool. We could set up a little compound. I don't know. One day, who knows? And it wouldn't be at my house. It would be somewhere else, but close by, because I think I'm in a good area. But that's for another time when things are really in the moment, when everything is breaking loose. But you should have a plan in the meantime. What in the world? Who's talking in the background there? Okay, so I think everybody should have a plan, and you all should have tools. You should know how to use those tools. You should have planned and prepared for that moment. And I think EcoFlows are great because they're portable. Now, if you get the really big EcoFlows that are really heavy, they're a little harder to move around. So they do have wheels, but if you're doing a home system, you're obviously going to be stacking batteries, and those are pretty heavy. You don't want to take something like that. You don't need that much power anyway. If you're on the go, you just want a small EcoFlow that you could just pull. It's got a couple wheels. Maybe pick it up and then stick it in there, and you got power. You got lights, and those lights will last a long time. Little portable power for whatever you need, even small appliances. But you should have like a little go camper, like a little go van or something, a van where you can get in, or a camper, like in case, especially people that are living in areas that are not too safe. You're in a city, there's lots of gangs, you got lots of migrants, you got lots of people. Even if they're good people, when things hit the fan, good people turn into savages. You know that, right? Anybody that's been around war-torn areas knows that good people turn into savages when they're hungry, when they can't get food, when they can't get water. They're going to loot. They're going to try to take what they can by force, especially if they're armed. So you need to think about things like that. And Biden recently said that the election is not going to be peaceful. He said, I think it'll be fair, but I don't think it will be. I can't guarantee it will be peaceful. He said. Did you see that when he said that? That's his dementia speaking the truth. Sometimes those dementia people, they don't have a filter and they just say what they're not. They're not supposed to say. They speak the quiet things out loud. And that's why the handlers are all. That's it. That's it. The briefing is over. And he's like, they're telling me I can't talk anymore because they know you're going to put your foot in your mouth. Now they don't even care. I don't think they really care about Biden now because not only is he a lame duck, he's just lame all the way around. There's nobody listening to what he has to say anyway. They're looking at Kamala right now as the president anyway. But man, look at this face, man. I'm telling you, this face just looks so creepy. Oh my goodness, this is like a nightmare face. Look, Nightmare on Elm Street or something. Look at that. I love you, Master. Whatever you say, Master Dark Maga, I will carry out your orders. Just tell me what and when, and I will execute them swiftly. Doesn't that look evil though? Like, so evil. Oh, and that's probably why Alex was trembling when he said it. Alex Jones. I should find that clip. I wonder if he washed his sight of that clip. I want to find those clips before he was accepted back onto X. I know that was like a bribe. They were it's called flatteries. The scripture talks about these end time moments where things are going to the powers that be are going to be flattering. They're going to be flattered to do what they're doing by flatteries. Flatteries. People that flatter. You got to be careful with people that flatter. They use flattery as a means to gain power. Do you know anybody that does that? I know a very powerful person or a very influential person, very wealthy person that likes flatteries, that does flatteries, and very, very successful by doing them. Made great gains by flatteries. All right, so let's see what else we got here. Yes, they're very manipulative. Absolutely, Karen. And their flatteries are lies. That's another thing. They lie and they don't even know they're lying. They just lie. That's all they. I noticed that their flatteries are just lies. They're like you said, they're manipulations. But they're so powerful and influential that people don't call them on it. They don't want to call them on it because they're too powerful. There's too much at stake. They know that person holds their life in their hand many times. That's the sad thing. Yeah. You're absolutely right, Karen. Whoops. Where did that go? Okay, so let's look at some news. Let's see what we got. Now, I the only people that I kind of alerted was the Telegram page, but I didn't. That was a while ago, so maybe that's why we don't have a whole lot of people here. But it's okay. People will, I should probably. Maybe I should just alert some people. Let's try and do that here. Hold on one second here. What did I do here? Did I mess it up here? Oh, you know what? Stupid me. I shut down the feed, I think. Did I? What did I do? Oh no, I didn't. Oh, I'm so out of it here. Come on. I need some more coffee. You know, one thing is I'm getting to bed a little too late. Got into bed the last couple nights a little too late. Got up a little bit too late as well. I can't be doing that. Just a little bit of out of focus moments there that probably actually it probably wasn't out of focus. It was probably what needed to happen. In order to be focused, to keep the focus. But sometimes bad, things that you think are not good, or that might be a little how could I say this, a little I don't know, it's like tribulation, or it's like trials. When you go through a trial, you don't always want the trial, you don't always like the trial. You might say, oh well, it's not good. Well, God allowed it, and God wanted it for a reason. Like, as Joseph said, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. So God turns all things together. Or he turns all things around together for good to those who love God and to those who are called according to his purpose. So if you're called according to God's purpose, then what's happening is actually turning into something good. If the Lord is in your life, he's going to turn it all around for good. Even though there might be evil intent, even though there might be an evil environment, even though there might be something that's nefarious, that's trying to stop and or thwart what you're doing, and this is what I think would be, classified as spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare is definitely real, and you have to resist. You have to draw near to God and then resist the devil. If you don't draw near to God, he's not going to draw near to you. If you don't resist the devil, he's not going to flee from you. You got to resist the devil. He'll flee from you. But the only way that happens is if you draw near to God and he draws near to you. Because really, the only thing that can stop the devil is the Lord. You're not going to stop the devil. I don't know why these Christians are out there, and I want to use words to just really expose that whole mindset. But they're always like, I rebuke you, devil. I call you out, devil. They're just talking to the devil like they own the devil. Like, really? Okay, well, Michael the Archangel didn't bring a railing accusation against the devil, but said, the Lord rebuke you. It's not you that's going to rebuke the devil. Okay, it's the Lord. You better know the difference. You better know the difference between the Lord doing the work and you trying to stop the devil. Because the devil ain't going to listen to you. Who are you, really? Unless you're one with the Lord, unless God is with you, unless God is directing you, there's nothing that you're going to say that's going to stop the devil from doing what his dirty work. And from maybe even attacking your interests. And even then, sometimes God allows the devil to tempt you, to test you, just like he did to Job. So you have to look at the big picture and really find out what is the mind of the Lord, and what is God saying to you or to me about a situation that we're in. Amen? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? All right, so we gotta do news. I know. I'm sitting here thinking, okay, let's do the news. The news. Let's go through our news feed here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop recording, and then I'm going to just re-record, and then repost it, if that's okay with you guys. So I'm going to start recording right now. So I'm still recording on live stream, but I'm doing a separate recording right now. So that recording will be posted later. I think what I'll do is I'll just repost it. And that way I can put it out there for people on Rumble as well. The poor Rumble people out there are wondering, where's Robert? I feel like Lookner. Lookner was doing this. Where's Robert? I'm over here on YouTube. You betrayed us once again. No, it's just that Rumble kind of sometimes sucks a little bit, even though I still love Rumble for free speech. I do love Rumble for free speech purposes, and we do have a large following over there. I mean, we have a lot of people that watch us over there. So you got to wonder why is it that I'm doing YouTube? But well, there's a reason. There is a reason. All right, so let's go ahead and pull up the feed here. All right. Is this the Blazing Press? Are we on Blazing Press? Yeah, we are. Okay. And don't forget, hey, we've got the blazingpress.com website with all the articles that we post on a daily. We're going to start ramping the daily posts back up again. We want to make sure that people are getting the things that we're looking at in context and in the fullness of the articles instead of just little blurbs on Telegram. So Telegram is good because it gives you the recent kind of headline news that you kind of would want to look at. But sometimes you want a more deeper insight and you want to do the research into what's really going on. And that's where you can do that at blazingpress.com. So get connected to our newsletter as well. We got a newsletter, instant kind of notification, in-house notification system that will send alerts to when something big goes down, day or night. It could be the night shift, or what do they call it? The graveyard shift for those who still are awake. I know Scott in Canada, you're always awake. I know that. So he's always going to be watching. But so what we'll do is we'll send out text via email. If it's connected to your cell phone, you're going to get the alert. But the best thing you could do is find out how you can get a push notification on your mobile device, whether it's through locals, whether it's through Telegram, whether it's through our Blazing Press app. You could all you have to do is follow me on there. If you go to the Blazing Press app, follow me, and then when I post, it'll pop up on your phone, or through our notification through newsletter, which it's like a newsletter, but I will send out an alert that'll go through your email, and if your email is connected to your phone, like mine is, like when I get an email, it pops up. It just says bling, and then I can read the email from the top, and I don't even have to go in. It'll just tell me. That's called a push notification, right? So you can know when we're on. That way you won't miss anything when the big stuff happens, like when Israel is bombing the nuclear facilities in Iran. When the crap is hitting the fan. When Gog and Magog are now coming down to fight with Israel, I'm going to be covering it live. Don't you want to watch that? That's going to be a good one. When the two witnesses are in Israel and they're being killed, since the whole world is watching, we'll be watching right here on Blazing Press. Well, I don't know. I just got to tell you, you don't want to miss what's coming. But here we go. Auroras now are being seen across the country from the X-Class 9. It was an X9. That's huge. That happened a couple days ago. It takes a little while for them to get to Earth. Those charged particles are coming at very fast speeds, but it does take a little while. I'm wondering if we're able to see it. I think we should be able to see it tonight, so we're going to go out and see if we can see it. But some very beautiful colors in the sky. Milton is currently a Category 1, and it's forecast to become a Category 4. I will say, I believe it may in fact become a Category 5. Because they're saying that it's just being energized right now. It wasn't supposed to be this strong, even at this moment. It's still got a ways to go, and it's already a Cat 1. And you're gonna look at an impact with storm surge that could very well be historic. So Hurricane Milton is going to probably be in the history books right there in Florida. So now all those people on the west coast there, Sarasota, Fort Myers, all up and down there, there's a cone there you got to be looking at. I would say if you're anywhere close by the coast, you might want to try to get out of Dodge. I don't know. I don't know how far in you need to go. But I know that wherever you're at, even if you're within 50 or 100 miles of the coast, you're going to be getting those huge winds. So maybe it's a good idea to just kind of get out of Dodge if you can, just for a day. Go visit Grandma, in Idaho or something. or in Montana. Whoa, there's that. See, that's that same screen again. Look, wow, that's just amazing. Let me turn this down. I know it's just background noise, but all right. So let's see. Here, let me repost this. Yes, I'm live right now. I am live at this very moment. Okay, so let's just move it over here. Russia at the UN says it is becoming increasingly clear that the Israeli leadership aims to trigger a conflict between Iran and the United States. See, I told you. That's what they're trying to do. They want the U.S. to get really deeply involved in a conflict here, and that's exactly what's about to happen. And whether it's a false flag because they want this, and I'm talking about the current administration, this would be a great opportunity to, forego the elections if there's ultimately chaos everywhere, and just think about it. If they're going to lose, if they know they're going to lose, why not just cause ultimate chaos? It's called scorched earth policy. Remember that, scorched earth policy. They just destroy everything on the way out if they're on the way out. And hopefully they can try to somehow gain control through chaos. But usually that doesn't work out too well, especially through martial law or something like that. But, and suspend elections because it's too dangerous. It's too dangerous to have elections. You don't want to come out of your house because it's too dangerous. Like you might catch something. You don't want to go, just send in those ballots. It's just send them in. We'll collect them for you and we'll count them. We'll find them. If they get lost, we'll find them. 12 o'clock at night, we'll find them sometime. 3 o'clock in the morning, we'll find them. So, that's kind of what they're hoping to do here. And Russia now is repeating what I've been saying the last 2 days. Again, way ahead of the news here at Blazing Press. Let's see. This is the Polish general. Staff calls on Poles to prepare for war. He's calling for the Polish to prepare for war. General Władysław Kukula, chief of the general staff of the Polish Armed Forces, said, quote, everything indicates that we are the generation that will take up arms in defense of our state. He said at a lecture at the start of the academic year at the Military Academy of the Land Forces in Wrocław. So this is the generation. Now, this generation doesn't last all that long in terms of military abilities. You only have a few years of a generation in the military. It's very short. You don't find fighting men in the armed forces usually after 30. Usually, unless it's really all-out war, and then they start recruiting you all the way up to their 60. And they get the women in there, too. They'll get the women. I mean, look what they're doing in Ukraine right now. I mean, they're pulling people in that are 50s and 60s. They're pulling in people that are handicapped. I mean, did you see the video? I know I shared that video where the handicapped guy, they were mocking him and taking videos of him, telling him to light or trying to get him to shoot a mortar, and then they started beating him. And he's obviously Down syndrome guy that was recruited, but he's not a military guy. Why are they recruiting these people? Recruiting young kids, 16, 17, just conscripting them. I mean, literally taking them off the street and throwing them in a van. And they're saying the whole generation, that's younger generation, is all dead. Most all the men in Ukraine are dead that are of a certain age. They have to get the 50s and the 60-year-olds in now, and the women to fight. That's why it's done. That's why you're not hearing about it in the news anymore, because America failed. And that was all part of the plan anyway. It was just a big money thing. It had nothing to do with Ukraine really winning. But now the Poles are realizing, okay, well, this is going to continue on. Now it's going to come toward our borders because Russia's going to take over. So we're going to have to fight. What is this? Oh, that looks very ugly. What is this? Fort William, Florida coast. This is not normal. Oh, no. That doesn't look normal to me. Looks like something's being played with in the skies. Is that HARP that I see? Is this weather manipulation? Is this another one of those vortexes that we're going to see in the radar? I know there's a lot of people monitoring radar right now to see if they're going to energize and direct this hurricane in a certain way. But that doesn't look good. No, it doesn't. HARP has been fully activated in Florida. And if you don't know anything about what HARP is and weather manipulation, you need to look that up, because the technology is there to supercharge these types of hurricanes, actually create them. We actually have technology to actually make earthquakes too, but to cloud seed, to make rain, to make storms, to direct storms. We can direct them where we want them to go with this technology. If you don't know about that, you should look it up. Weather modification possibly underway. They're saying it looks like they're planning a 2 to 3 prong hit for a major event, and it looks like it's Florida. Please pray for those of us in the crosshairs. Jane Ruby, I guess, is saying she's right there in the midst of it. I don't know if you guys know who Jane Ruby is. She's a great lady. Trump says, hit the nuclear first and then worry about the rest later. Trump urges Israel to strike Iran. Sounds like what Trump said before about guns. Remember when he said, take the guns first and then do due process after. You know, don't ask any questions. Just take the guns. Remember he said that? Oh, but Trump's the First Amendment guy. He's free speech, man. He's not going to do that. He's all MAGA, man. Yeah, but you got to be harsh, and there's got to be some harsh moments before freedom comes back. We're going to have to take control because everything is out of control. This is how we gain control, right? We got to. You're not going to gain back control of what's going on right now. Nobody's going to do it unless they're a dictator and they lock everything down, you know. Otherwise, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. We're just in the midst of being judged. That's all. And who's God going to put over this country to oversee that judgment? I don't know. Who do you think it's going to be? It's coming though. What happened to those promises of peace? Now he's talking about war with Iran. How are we going to have peace if he's saying he's going to bring peace to the world if we're in the middle of a war with Iran in the Middle East? How's that going to happen? He's actually talking like a war hawk here. It doesn't sound like he's going to bring peace, because remember, he's like the man that's going to bring peace to the world. Remember, he said, I will be your peace. I will be your hope. I will be your comfort. I will be your friend. You know, like he knows everybody's scared out of their wits. Remember he was saying all that? It sounded like he was some kind of self-help guru or something a while back. It wasn't too long ago when he was talking like that. But anyways, here it is. And you know, I love everybody, and I love all you out there that are hoping that things are going to turn around. But I'm a realist, you know, and I look at reality. And I got to tell you the truth. I can't just tell you lies. I can't tell you sweet little lies. I'm not gonna give you a bunch of hopium when I know it isn't going to come true. Why would I want to tell you that? You know, I want to tell you the truth so that when it does happen, and you still listen to that lie and you hate it on me, then you're going to realize at that point, well, shoot, I should have listened to Robert. You know, I should have went out and bought my mask when Robert told me to. Now I got to buy one at $20 or $30. I should have got my food. I should have got all this. Now the storm is here. I don't have anything, and now I don't have no lights and no food and no water, and now I'm stuck. I'm waiting for government to come help me. So you better get yourself together and start listening. Residents of Marshall, North Carolina are having to dig their town out of the mud. Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty bad. I love this one. Hillary Clinton telling everybody that media needs to be censored. All these media platforms are violating. They're losing control. We're losing control is what she said. We're losing control, and we need to take away the First Amendment because we're losing control and something bad's going to happen. Yeah, something bad like you're going to be exposed even more than you already have been. And all those, you know, everybody is. Now, censorship began, the most harshest censorship we've ever experienced happened in 2017, right after Trump got in. I lost 500,000 subscribers. Everybody was losing their channels on YouTube. See, I got taken down first before anybody. I got taken down before Alex Jones. I got taken down before anybody. I was yelling and screaming that some terrible things were coming. This April of 2017, all of the real censorship began 6 months, 7 months after. That's when it began. But we were kind of the first ones out the gate because we had a big channel. We had a couple big channels. All of them were taken down. No reasons were given. No reasons were given. We had no reasons for why. They just took them down. There was no strikes. They were just taken down. Now, why was censorship so bad under Trump? Shouldn't Trump have done something about it? Shouldn't he have, or was his hands really tied? But this time his hands won't be tied because Q said that he had to let everything go to the brink of chaos and the world be at the edge of annihilation so that they would see that he's actually, he's not a dictator. They said he couldn't do anything back then because he would be seen as a dictator. So he basically had to just slink away and not do anything. He couldn't get the forensic analysis of all of the voting machines. That was a no-no. He couldn't do that. Why? He was the president. He could have ordered it. But was he really the president if his hands were tied? Everybody turned on him. All of his picks. Everybody that he put in his cabinet all turned on him. Why? Was he a bad judge of character? Did he not know how to run a business? I thought he was a businessman. I thought he knew how to run government. Well, he's new. He's new, but he's figured it out. He's figured it out now. Okay, so he'll do differently now. So he's going to make it happen this time, or is this going to be him throwing his dark MAGA temper tantrum, and we're going to see all kinds of we're going to see there's a lot of people that want to see people executed. They want everything. They want the left. I mean, this is a left-right thing, and for me, I'm not on either side. Okay, I criticize. It's like, what do they call it when you criticize everything? Equal opportunity criticism. I criticize it all because I see the system itself. It's the left-right paradigm. It's all a bunch of lies. It's a bunch of lies. I don't know why people even think it's kind of like when you watch a boxing match, and the boxing match was rigged because the mafia is controlling who takes the fall. They pay him off really nice, and they tell him take a fall because they want to make the money. They don't want to have any chance of losing a huge amount of money. This is how they make money. You take the fall. Here's the money. We'll pay you well. You take the fall. The whole thing is rigged. You get up there and WWE, everything is pre-planned. You still get beat up in the head and you still will bleed. It still looks real and everybody still cheers and goes all crazy. But it's all planned. It's not real. It's all fake. So don't get all hyped up and don't sit there and cheer for Hulk Hogan or, The Rock and thinking that, this is all. Why are you so emotionally attached to these fake players and actors? They're all actors. They're all actors. You're just following a bunch of scripted. It's a scripted events that are unfolding here. But anywho's, let's see what else we got here. This cop, I got to see this cop. This is straight from local law enforcement. Do not donate to FEMA for Hurricane Helene victims. He basically said don't donate. He said they're stealing the money. Let's see.
But now everyone's heard it.
Let's play this really quick here. Yeah, this is a real cop. I don't know what kind of a cop he is. Is he a sheriff? Is he? It's got his name on there too, so I guess he's not afraid to say it publicly. Let's go ahead and watch what he had to say there.
By now, everyone's heard about what's going on in the western part of. By now, everyone's heard about what's going on in the western part of Carolina, eastern Tennessee, Florida, Georgia. Donate. Please donate what you can. Try to find a nonprofit to donate to, a church, local PD. A lot of those are taking donations, sheriff's departments. I know my department is running a bunch of stuff to the western part of the state to help. Donate. But please do not donate to FEMA. They are hindering a lot of what people are trying to accomplish out in the western part of the state. FEMA doesn't understand that these Appalachian people are built differently. I am very familiar with them. They are not going to stand by idly and have government officials tell them what to do. FEMA's playing a game of FAFO because free men don't ask for permission. Again, please donate and help these people out. They need us now more than ever.
Okay, so FAFO, they're playing a game. What does that mean? I don't even know. FAFO. Let's see. What does that mean? Oh, F around and find out. Okay. It's like I had to look it up. It's like, what does it mean? What does it mean? So that's the way the people are where I live too. They all kind of watch out for each other and they don't trust anything that's going on. Now, if you're in a big city, a big blue city, or a big blue state, or a blue city in a red state, because you can still be in a blue city in a red state, you're probably not in a very safe area. You might want to think about moving out of Dodge, getting out of Dodge while you can. If you still can, I don't know. It's too late for a lot of people because it takes a lot of time to move. But this is why you got to have go bags, so that if it does come down to it, like the Bible says, when you see these things happening and all these armies are surrounding Israel, when you leave, don't go back to get your cloak. Just leave. Don't stick around and don't come back, because if you come back, you're going to die. It's kind of like Lot and his wife. Don't look back, you dummy. The Lord said, don't look back. Just leave. You got to go. This time to go. Just look straight ahead and go to where you got to go. You look back, you're going to turn to salt. And there's a moment in time where things you just have to go. And you should know when that moment is. So that's what they call it. That's why they call it a go bag. They call it a go bag or a bug out bag. Now, for me, I've got a bug in. I'm going to bug in. I got an area where it's good, at least, unless there's not, total and complete. I mean, total and complete nuclear war that just covers the whole planet. I mean, literally, they could just destroy everything if they really wanted to. But, I'm good with the Lord, and that's the main thing. And I think that you all have to be right with God, and having peace in your heart is the key. Don't be sitting there thinking that you're going to save yourself, really, until you know that God has saved you. And he's already saved you if you're right with him. So the physical body is just a part of that salvation for a period of time. And then once you pass through that, everything else is gravy. You're in the club, Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into your rest, right? So you'll be coming on in with all when the saints, they go marching in, when the saints go marching in. How does that go? I want to be counted in that number. And so anyways, I guess that's about it. Where is everybody? Is there still people here in the chat here? Let me look. Am I missing out on my chat room? All right, let's just take some talk time. I do not put my faith in man or woman. You're absolutely right. I don't do that. Robert, please remove her face from the screen. Who? You mean Hillary? How do you feel about Kamala as president instead of Trump? Will you vote for Kamala? No, I'm not going to vote for Kamala. Are you crazy? Why would you even ask? Well, you must not even know me. You know, for someone to ask that kind of question, you are so far out of touch with what is going on here. You shouldn't even ask questions until you know what's going on. Okay, whoever that is. You know, something's going on there. Let's see what else. Dean says, Robert, why do you insist on raging on Trump all the time? It makes no sense. What do you mean? I'm not raging on him. I'm just talking about what's going on, what he does, what is going on in the world in the context of who Trump is and what he's doing. I don't have a doubt that he's not going to be president. I think he is going to be president. But that doesn't mean I'm on board politically with what's going on, because it's just going to be a repeat of, it's just another repeat of what happened. Now, outwardly, it's kind of like, the way I see it, it's like this. It's a deception. And the deception, the reason it's a deception is because it seems good. It's kind of like that flattery thing we were talking about earlier. When somebody flatters you, you feel good. You want to go along with it. And they string you on, and they string you along, and then at the end they take it out. They don't give it to you. And then they use you, and then they take advantage of you. Do you want that? No, I don't want that. I already see the patterns. I'm not going to go along with that. Go ahead. You can do it. Stop harassing me about why I think the way I think. Just click the little button up there. This is not your cup of tea, and then go somewhere else where somebody's going to be praising. Go to X22 and just worship over there. Worship X22. Just go over there and worship X22. There you go. You'll be fine. Yeah, I should be getting my decaf coffee, man. This caffeine anointing is just, it's harsh on some people's ears. I'm sorry I'm so harsh on your ears. Let's try to make you feel better next time. I'll drink the decaf. We'll have a decaf anointing for you. I'll tell you what you want to hear. I'll tickle your ears. Here you go. Ah, does that feel better? Oh, yeah. I think I want to come back, Robert. I'll donate. Okay, that's good. No, I don't care about your donations. You go take them and give them to someone else. Okay? There you go. Oh, gosh. Let's see. What else do we got here? How many of you out there love the Lord? How many out there love Jesus? How many of you voting for the Most High God to be the supreme ruler of the whole world, of the whole universe? That's where my vote is. That's where my citizenship is. My citizenship is in heaven. It's not in this world, man. I'm not a partisan here on this planet. You can say, I'm not going to fight. Just like Jesus said, my servants don't fight. They're not, their kingdom is not of this world. Why are you trying to fight here, guys, about the kingdoms? We're not here to fight with the kingdoms here. We're not here for that. We're here to be a witness. We're here to be ambassadors of the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, of the kingdom of God. That's what we're here for. We're ambassadors of the King of Kings to the world's kingdoms. We're here to speak on behalf of the kingdom of God to the kingdoms of the world. They're supposed to be listening to us, okay, about the way things are going to be. Not the way things are and the way they're planning. Their plans are all going to come to nothing in the end. It's just a matter of time. Did I mute myself? No, I didn't mute myself. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. Did I get the chicken coop built? The chicken coop is almost complete. I had to fix the roof because obviously a big old tree fell on it and totally completely crushed the whole thing. But luckily it wasn't too much damage. Once I took it all apart, I had enough wood and I had a couple other extra. You know how God works? I'll just give you a little example of how God works. So I think I might have told you this. Did I? So I built this chicken coop, and I went out and I got the metal roof for it, and I got just enough, But actually, I was a little short. But I went to the dump, and I had some metal that I had to dispose of. And as I got to the dump, I looked, and lo and behold, there's all kinds of green roofing that's long. They cut it down the side like only a little bit, so it was still almost 3 feet wide, and it was almost exactly the length. I think it was at 10 feet. And I had 12 footers, and there was a whole bunch of them there. And I just took them and put them in the back of my trailer, and I was like, dang, I got all, it was the same color and everything. So I was able to finish up without having to get anything else. When the tree came down and messed up my roof, it only messed up 2 slats, and I've got enough to fix it without having to go out and buy anything else. See, the Lord provided. He knew that the roof was going to be collapsed in by this big old tree, and and he gave me all the extra materials, so I didn't have to go out and spend any money. It was perfect. So, and I always see the Lord in everything that I'm doing too. It's so I always look for these little signs too. Like when I'm building a fence, I go all the way to the last slat. Because I'm doing a fence right now, and it's like perfect. Everything came out perfect, even to the last nail. How often does that happen where you have the last nail and you got the last slat and everything was like finished and you're just like perfectly done? Like, I don't know how that happens. And I've got a whole bunch of these things when I first started, and I picked out just enough because, I pick out enough to go out to where I'm building this fence, because we're putting up a fortress, our fencing is like a fortress. We're preparing. Now, how many of you guys remember back in 2012 when I had the prophetic dream of the fence or of the gate as it was closing? Because I'm doing right now. I'm in the process of building the gates. The gates. How many of you guys remember the prophecies when I first met my wife and all that? And I told you guys about the prophecies of the gates, and when all these nuclear bombs were exploding, the gate was closing, and I got right in the gate right as the gate closed. It was the fortress that we kind of went into. The nuclear bombs were going off in the background. How many of you guys remember that? Anybody remember me talking about that? Let's see if there's any old school people here that have been following us for a long time. Now, I've talked about it, in our small groups from once in a couple times after. But you should remember if you're part of that. Nobody here that remembers that? And it was a very specific prophecy because it had a lot to do with child in time. You remember that? What's your name? So I know who you are, because I know that's a different name. Okay, this probably, I bet you this is Eden. Is that Eden? Are you Eden? Is child in time? Are you Eden? Lisa, you remember it? You're Eden? Oh, hi, Eden. Eden's been around for a long time. She's I always say Eden's the quiet one in the back that you got to watch out for. The people that are the quiet ones, they're usually the ones that know a lot more, because they sit and watch everything and they listen. Eden's been around, and she said, Eden and I had a couple weird things happen where we dreamt the same things at the same time. Remember that, Eden? That happened a couple of times. It was during that dam. I think it was what the heck, that dam was going to break. I forget the damn thing. That was in 2017 or 2016, maybe. Right as we entered into 2017. Oroville. The Oroville, when we were covering Oroville, and you dreamt about the shark, remember? And I dreamt about the same thing, and you I was sharing it on the live stream, and then you were telling me about your dream in the live stream as well, and it was like almost the same thing, or maybe it was in a fellowship or something. It was crazy. It was so crazy, but that happened a couple times with Eden, where she dreamt something and I dreamt the same thing, and it was like we both had the same dream. Have you ever had that happen where you're on the same wavelength with somebody at a certain point? Kind of crazy. Yeah, we both talked about the sharks. Yep, yep, yep. It was pretty crazy. I know. That was back in 2017. So what was I saying? Okay, so you remember the dream, the prophecy thing about the gates. Now, when we first moved to where we're at, I had built a fence. And I thought, well, maybe that was it. You know, I built the fence and I built the gates. And that was just the main part of the property. But we're doing the back end now. So literally, we're like enclosing the whole thing now. Whereas before we only did the front end and the front and the side. Now we're doing everything all the way around. And there are gates in the back, some big gates that I'm building. And so the gates and the fencing. And I've been doing that. You know, that's another thing that I do on the side there. And that's what I was doing tonight. You know, actually, I was doing other stuff with other things. But anyway, so those gates in the dream. So I'll tell you the dream. And I have to preface this with things that have been going on too, because I think I might have had COVID this year. I'm not going to go get myself checked with those stupid things up your nose, and I don't even care because I'm just trusting God for everything. Right, the whole family, and they said there was a big outbreak too, but I was sick for like 2 months, and it was just like a weakness. Now the reason I'm telling you this is because a part of the dream back in 2012 was that I was wrestling with this man. He was a religious kind of personality, but he was evil. And he was very strong, and he was pulling me down. Like he was taking me down in this dream. And I remember I was not able to overcome and to wrestle with this person, and I felt like that was it. I was getting weaker and weaker and weaker, and I couldn't stop what was happening. And then what happened was I saw a friend of mine by the name of John. And what's really weird is that a lot of my friends over the years have all been named John. I don't know how to explain this to you, but I've had at least 5 or 6 people that were probably closer in terms of friendship than anybody else by any other name. It's always been a guy by the name of John. So it's very strange how that's happened. It's almost like a pattern. Well, this person in the dream that I saw was coming. I thought he was going to help me. He was looking at me, and I was thinking, okay, I got somebody to help me because this person's overcoming me. He's taking me down, and I feel so weak. I couldn't do anything. So I'm thinking, okay, my hope was stirred because I saw my friend coming, but he stopped, and he looked over my shoulder. Because like I'm being pulled down. He looked over my shoulder and then he ran. And I was thinking in the dream, my hopes were dashed. Like I felt so like that's it. This is it. There's nothing I can do now. And then all of a sudden the guy that was dragging me down stopped. And he looked over my shoulder. And then he let me go. And I got up and I looked behind me and I see these nuclear bombs going off, and how they're percussion and you see the rings coming. That's what I saw. And so I turned around and I looked at him in the face and I said, "Now where are you going to be?" That's what I said in the dream. "Now where are you going to be?" And he looked at me and he had this like fear in his eyes. I could see fear, but he kind of smiled like a facade kind of thing. And he smiled and he looked up and he pointed. He pointed and he looked up, but it was not, he had fear in his eyes. And then I started running as fast as I could. And a gate was closing. There was a gate and it was closing like this. And I got right before the gate shut. And inside of the gate was this big fortress, like it was all brick. And I went in there into that fortress. And I always remember that dream because I thought, okay, this is very significant. We've had other prophetic dreams that have actually happened from way back then until now. and I've chronicled them and I've talked about them with our small groups. But by being in that situation, like right now, I'm looking at what I'm doing right now and I'm thinking, okay, nuclear stuff is definitely happening, potential nuclear stuff. And people are watching what's going on. And so what's weird is that at certain points I've had this weakness. Like I felt this weakness. Like this weakness was so I couldn't do anything hardly at all. I still tried to do stuff. I was still out there trying to do what I had to do, but I was so weak from this. Now, okay, so here's what happened. I get stung by a wasp. My whole leg swells up for two weeks. Couldn't put on my shoe because my leg swelled up, and then that finally dissipated. And I had the tennis elbow, which I couldn't work for like a month because I couldn't even pick up my coffee cup. Remember, I was sitting here trying to pick up my coffee cup, and I was like, like I couldn't even drink my coffee. So that stopped me for doing stuff for a month because I have to work. I got a lot of work to do. Like I have manual labor I got to get out there and do, and I can't even do that. Well, I couldn't even do that. So then after that's happening, it's almost getting resolved. Then we get sick for another this like COVID for 2 weeks or 2 months. I mean, it lasted a long time, and it was just it was a week. Like I felt so drained and weak, and like my chest hurt. I had all this congestion, and didn't even want to get out of bed sometimes. I mean, I was just in bed, like and I knew it was like so. This weakness, I felt like was taking me down again, is right before all this stuff is happening. And now I get this strength to go out and do what I'm doing, and now I've got the strength back. So it's like, and I'm really running like to get this stuff done, right? To get this gate up, to get the fencing up, and to get everything secured right before we got winter, right? This is why, I keep telling you guys I got to get stuff done. I got this, blah, blah. Anyways, this is what I'm saying is potentially the place where we're at right now. These gates are getting closed. Nuclear stuff going on in the background, and now I got my strength back. Okay, so this could be it. Like I'm saying, this could be something big that I'm saying it might be from the prophecies of way back. But anyways, that's just a little story for those who are interested. You got to go to work, Elizabeth. Oh, God bless you. Have a good night. Get a good sleep, and get yourself up early. That's what I got to do too. My day's got to start early. The nights are getting earlier now too. We're into that winter period where everything gets dark early. And they went out and preached that men should repent. Amen. Chuck, what's going on, brother? Thanks for sending that email too. Like I said, that kind of gives a little background on some of the things. Obviously, where we're at on that. Chuck. Chuck. I don't know if you guys know Chuck, but Chuck is a voiceover. I don't know what you call it. Voiceover actor. I don't know what you call that. Voiceover what? Is there something that defines that? He does voiceovers, and he's going to be doing our voiceover for our intro. He's somebody that's been hanging out here and loves the Lord, and and he lives in Florida. So pray for him. He lives in near Fort Myers. So you guys need to pray for Chuck, because he's right in the direct. But he's going to be okay because he got an EcoFlow now. Chuck got an EcoFlow. Okay, but Chuck, I don't know. Maybe you should evacuate. I don't know. Are you thinking about evacuating, or are you going to try to ride it out? They're saying it could be like, historic 5 cat. I don't want you to put yourself in a actor or an artist. Okay, an artist. They call it an artist, a voiceover artist. Yeah. Well, are you out of harm's way there, Chuck? I know you're kind of close to Fort Myers, but then they say that's kind of where it's going. Be safe, but he's got a great voiceover. He's got a great voice, so it's going to be cool. I would love to, let you guys hear his voice. But we're gonna, and by the way, if anybody does need voiceovers, you'll see what he does. And it'll be like a little advertisement too for him. Get that out there. But yeah, we're going to kind of do a little intro with a voiceover to kind of make it, sound a little more professional, I guess. It always helps. You want him to call in? You want to hear it? You're going to write it out? Are you serious? Be safe, man. I hope you're not in a low-lying area. I hope you're not in a flood-prone zone. You should go back historically, because they said this was a 1,000-year historic flood up in those areas. You better make sure that your area can sustain lots of rain. You're able to, not have any, 100-year flood that's going to, at one time this flooded once, 200 years ago. You better make sure that you're not in an area that will flood. You're inland a ways? Okay, well, that's good. But still, those hurricanes, they dump a lot of water, and still, even if you're 100 miles in, it's still going to be like a hurricane, right? I mean, it's still going to be like cat 2 or 3 hitting you. I know we had 70-mile-an-hour winds here, and a whole bunch of trees fell down. Our power was out for 2 days. This was on the day. This was like exactly when Helene was hitting Florida. We had the same, not the same thing. Obviously, it wasn't the same thing, but we had a huge amount of wind that took out our power. So it was kind of coinciding with Helene. It was kind of weird. And we're way over here on the left coast. A man with a great voice could rule the world. Yeah. Yeah, we keep saying that, Dillard. The Lord's, the judgment starts in the house of God, and we pray that God refines the people that are called by his name, that their motives will be right, that they're not going to be, deceived in any, their blind spots. A lot of people have blind spots, and we just pray that God refines everyone, through whatever it takes. Sometimes it's physical suffering, sometimes it's, emotional, mental suffering, but ultimately that draws you to God. It keeps you in a place of prayer, and then that's when God will answer your prayer and get you back on a right track. Now, then he'll tell you, don't go back to doing that lest something worse come upon you. You know how Jesus would say that? I healed you. Okay, that's good, but don't think that you can go back to doing what you were doing before, because something worse will come upon you. So make sure that you don't, go back to doing anything wrong. But yeah, the judgments begin in the house of God. And if it happens with us, and it's hard for the righteous to be saved, what will become of the ungodly and the sinner who don't obey the gospel? What's going to happen to them? If it's hard for the righteous to be saved, that straight and narrow gate, you gotta be, it's very, very narrow. If you're overweight, spiritually overweight, and you're not disciplined, and you're not focused, and you're not fit spiritually, you're not going to make it through the gate. You're going to be stuck. You're going to get stuck in the gate, and the gates, you're going to be like, I can't get in. The Lord's like, well, get out there and start working a little bit more. Maybe you'll fit. One of these days you'll be able to get in. $10 for a loaf of bread? Seriously. I mean, bread's already at like $6 or $7 a loaf. I remember when bread was like $1. But what's crazy was when I was a kid, my mom always used to buy that Wonder Bread. Did anybody ever eat Wonder Bread? Well, it's like, I wonder what this bread is. It doesn't even taste like bread. It tastes like dough. I don't know. It was just crazy bread. I know it's cheap. It was really cheap, baby. That's why they got it. They would buy it. Wonder Bread, 99 cents. You can't beat it. We don't know what it is. On the back, remember I was telling you guys today, on the back of Fran's bread, it says, this bread may cause cancer. It's like, why do you buy bread that has a warning on it that says it's going to cause cancer? I'm going to see if I can find it. I'm going to just tell you what it says. Fran's bread, cancer. Cancer warning. Ryan Hall is denying weather manipulation. What a dummy. And he makes so much money doing this. That's why. Yeah, so Fran's Bakery includes a Proposition 65 warning on some of its products that may be sold in California because the products may contain acrylamide, a chemical that is known to cause cancer. Now, why would they put something in their bread that causes cancer? I don't get it. What is so important about acrylamide that they have to include it in their bread? The warning states that consuming the product may expose you to chemicals that are known to cause cancer, birth defects, and other reproductive harm. Well, sure. Here, kids, have some Fran's bread. You might have babies when you get older that have, a hand growing out their head or an arm growing out of their head. Or 3 legs or something, It says Proposition 65 requires businesses that sell baked goods and employ 10 or more workers to include a warning label if their products may contain acrylamide. What is acrylamide? It is a chemical that forms when sugars and amino acids react during the baking or frying process. It may be found in many foods, including bread crusts, toast, French fries, potato chips, and roasted nuts. What? Nuts? The FDA does not advise people to stop eating baked, toasted, or French fried products because they want you to die early. They need to depopulate the earth. Oh, no, I just added that. But that's probably what they really think. Because, Bill Gates' idea is that we need to lower the population on planet Earth. How do we do that? Through the juice. I can't say the word on here because I'll get it demonetized. You got to give them some juice. You got to give them the Kool-Aid. The AI is pretty good at figuring out what you're saying. Did you know that? You gotta kind of mix it up a little bit. You got to say like Axine ve. This is Pig Latin. How many of you guys know how to speak Pig Latin? I'll just speak to you those words that I can't use. I'll speak it in Pig Latin. Axine ve. You don't want that. The Kool-Aid. Because they don't know what's going to happen once you take it down the road. You don't know what's going to be the outcome. They didn't do enough testing. Because I pushed it through. Like nobody else has ever done this before. It's called warp speed. Warp speed. And I know it's the best miracle that's ever happened on planet Earth. What does he say? The FDA didn't like it. They didn't like me. No, they didn't like me. They don't like me. Because they're global. But they had to listen. Because I'm the authority. I made it happen. Everybody's trying to take credit for it. But it's all me. I did it. And I advise you to go out there and do it, too. Ezekiel bread? No, I haven't tried it, but I see it. I know. It's good. All right, let's look and see some of the other things here. Okay, so we're looking at Home Depot is hastily exiting warehouse space, scaling back more than 3 million square feet in a month. What? Really? This is coming from Zero Hedge. 3 million square feet a month they're scaling back. Why are they doing that? Wow. Exiting warehouse space hastily. It's happening very quickly. Home Depot. Maybe because they're not building anymore as much. Hunger Games something. A DHS head Mayorkas shops in Georgetown while Katrina-like disaster unfolds in North Carolina. What the heck? That's kind of weird. FEMA says that criticism of how they are handling Helene recovery is dangerous, and people need to stop spreading false narratives. Well, these are people that are on the front lines that are actually helicopter pilots and that have been told very specifically that they're not needed or not wanted to help, and they're confiscating and threatening them with arrest. I mean, we've heard, what, two testimonies from different pilots? These are real pilots that have real helicopters that are really out there helping people that have talked about this. In fact, one was on the national news because he saved a little girl and a woman, and he was an off-duty National Guard. And then the government tried to take credit and said that the National Guard helped. This was a national news story that they tried to take credit for him because he was off-duty National Guard. They said the National Guard helped. They didn't say an off-duty National Guard private citizen in his own helicopter. No, they tried to make it seem like the National Guard was out there helping. You see how they lie? That's not. The danger is that you're lying. That's what the danger is. The dangerous narrative is that you're lying to the American people, and the American people can see through it. That's the dangerous narrative. It's not that people are telling the truth. The truth is the truth. And if the truth is dangerous, well, then that's just what happens when the truth is out there. Right? Hurricane Helene flooding in North Carolina. Let's just look at some of these posts here. I'll probably show you some of these posts here so you can look at what I'm seeing here. This is FEMA lady talking. Let's see if we got the actual interview here. Listen to what she says.
So much is going viral online as well. One user suggested yesterday that a militia should go against FEMA. It got more than 500,000 views. What kind of impact has this had on the recovery effort?
It has a tremendous impact on the comfort level of our own employees to be able to go out there, but it's also demoralizing to all of the first responders that have been out there in their communities helping people, FEMA staff, volunteers, the private sector that are working side by side with local officials to go out and help people. I need to make sure I can get the resources to where they're needed. And when you have this dangerous rhetoric like you're hearing, it creates fear in our own employees. And we need to make sure we're getting help to the people who need it.
Well, the problem is that they didn't do anything, and they weren't out there, orchestrating the recovery effort. They should have been on it right away. And nothing was going on for days. And people were getting frustrated and angry. And they were taking matters into their own hands. They're not going to sit on their hands and wait for the government to come save them because people were literally dying. So, that's their incompetence. It has nothing to do with people getting angry. It's the incompetence that caused the problem. Anyways, well, let's see what else we got here. Hurricane Helene flooding in North Carolina stirs yellow jacket swarms, prompting distribution of Benadryl and EpiPens. Now, I know because I got stung by some kind of wasp. I don't think it was a bee. I think it was a wasp. And my foot swole up, and then it went up my leg. And it lasted for like 2 weeks. I couldn't even put on a shoe. So I know what it's like to get stung by a wasp. I don't know if I'm allergic to them or not. I never had that happen. I've been stung by bees before and never had my foot swell up or anything swell up. I mean, I think there was something different in this bee. Because you know what was weird is when I got stung by that wasp, it hurt so bad. It was like a knife went into my foot. And it was just a little bee sting. I pulled out just a little stinger. It was just a small little stinger, but the pain was so bad, it went through my whole foot. It felt like something stuck, like I felt like glass went into my foot. That's how bad it hurt. I couldn't believe the pain that I felt from that sting. I didn't know what it was. I thought I literally stepped on glass. When I got stung, I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe I got a piece of glass that went all the way into my foot. But when I looked, it was just a little stinger. That was it. And so, yeah, I tried Benadryl. That didn't work. It didn't work. I don't know why it didn't work. But so that's pretty bad. That's a Fox News article about all the wasps. I don't know why there'd be a lot of wasps. Maybe because there's mud and water, maybe. Okay, so Elon Musk dances around like a fruitcake. Let's look at this. What in the world is going on with Elon Musk? I mean, look at this. He looks like I know Elon has some kind of a handicap. Did you know that? It's some kind of, I'm not sure what it is, but he has a handicap. He's talked about it, or people have talked about it, and maybe this is just a manifestation of that handicap. When he gets really emotional or he gets excited, maybe this is just his weirdness. I don't know, but look, watch this.
Come here. Take over, Elon. Just take over.
Hi, everyone. And free speech. Free speech is the bedrock of democracy. And if people don't know what's going on, if they don't know the truth, how can you make an informed vote? You must have free speech in order to have democracy. And then make sure they actually do vote. If they don't, this will be the last election. That's my prediction. Nothing's more important. Nothing's more important. I think this election, I think it's the most important election of our lifetime. This is no ordinary election. The other side wants to take away your freedom of speech. They want to take away your right to bear arms. They want to take away your right to vote effectively.
Of our country.
Important election of our lifetime.
This is the most important election in the history of our country.
This election is the most important in the modern history of this country.
The election in 2020, without hyperbole, is going to be the most important election this country has undergone in over 100 years. Not a joke.
This November's elections are more important than any I can remember in my lifetime, and that includes when I was on the ballot.
There are just 8 days left in what is the most important election of our lifetimes.
This will be maybe the most important election that our country's ever had.
There's never been a more important tomorrow in modern electoral history in the United States than tomorrow, and that's not hyperbole.
We know what is on the line and what is a truly most important election of our lifetime. Has anybody ever said that?
That's funny. That reminds me of the media when they all say the same thing. All over the country, they're all like orchestrated by some central agency that's giving them talking points, and they all stand up and they all say the same thing. It's like, what? You got hundreds of news channel networks all around the country saying the same exact thing on the same day. And their talking points were given to them early in the morning by some central Ministry of Truth. What is it? Ministry of Truth? The Ministry of Truth. Let's see what else we got here. Into thin air. Someone should send this to Ryan Hall. I would, but him and his entire family have me blocked. Really? That is crazy. They blocked Into Thin Air? Because why? Because he says certain things that people are kind of not thinking are conspiracies, huh? They would lose their sponsorship money in the blink of an eye, in the blink of a lightning strike, if they ever mention this on the stream. This is why they hate me and they think we are the scum of the earth. So, unbelievable. This is what he's talking about. Multiple senators and representatives of North and South Carolina agree that Hurricane Helene was an attack caused by weather manipulation. Please share video below. Let's take a listen and see what they say here. Why would he lose his sponsorships? I don't know why. If it's true, I mean, if they're literally saying it, let's listen and take a listen.
If you can do so, could you tell us about some of your recent discussions, conversations, briefings that you've had with political leaders from the states in question that have asked you what you think? First of all, what did they specifically ask you, if you can tell us, and how did they respond to your answers?
Yes, Colonel McGregor, I had an hour conference call yesterday with the representatives and senators from the Carolinas, and we presented the data to them to answer their questions about how this manipulation occurs. They realized this was not a natural event. They're trying to digest the fact that their states were literally under assault from weather modification operations that are clearly connected with DoD operations, and we can speculate again on the agendas and objectives being carried out, but the fact that the storm was manipulated is absolutely inarguable. We know that technology to stop these rotations from even occurring has existed for decades with the manipulation of atmospheric pressure zones. HARP in Alaska is one example many people are familiar with. That's an ionosphere heater. That's a weapon of mass destruction, period.
Wow. Yep. And if you saw the signatures right before the hurricane was making landfall, there was a big swirl in the radar, which was a total anomaly. You never see something like that happen. Very odd. It was literally a vortex swirl that kind of charged the storm at a certain point, and then it disappeared. And then you also see those radar signatures popping up everywhere at the same time, which is what they're saying is charging and directing and maybe manipulating the ionosphere or something. I don't know. It's very strange. But you got to do a little research into all that. Let's see what else we got here. I believe in an open free speech approach to social media, Ryan Hall says. However, this also means dealing with a flood of misinformation. Let's see what he says here. This is Ryan Hall, y'all. He says, when did he post this? Okay, so he posted this today. People are actively posting nonsense trying to trick you, often just to profit off of ads. This is especially concerning with upcoming hurricane situation in Florida, where people will be needing guidance and will seek it online. Well, I mean, I think he's probably referring to probably what Into Thin Air is talking about. Yeah. So he probably is responding through this post to Into Thin Air, because Into Thin Air is making a deal about it and is calling him out. And Into Thin Air has a pretty big following. Not as big, obviously, as Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall has a lot of people watching him. But he's not a meteorologist. He's just somebody that's trying to make money off of ads, like he's claiming other people are trying to do. I think that Ryan Hall is probably, a nice person, outwardly with an altruistic, facade of trying to help, but he's really about making some money, and that's what he's doing. So he's blaming other people for things that he's actually doing. So there, Ryan Hall, y'all. Let's see what else is going on here. And by the way, Ryan Hall does make millions off of what he does. He's making millions, and he's monetizing it on his website as well, with all kinds of products. And he uses these storms to try to help people and have people donate to his organization. And so he gets huge amounts of donations on top of all the ad revenue. The ad revenue is probably into the millions just alone by itself, not to mention, like I said, all the donations and his nonprofit and all the products that he's posting. He's making a huge amount of money. For him to start saying that this little guy is making money off of ads and that's disinformation, please look at what they said about the senators and what they said. Go check it out and vet it before you start criticizing them, because this technology exists. It's been talked about in journals. It's got patents. Government officials talk about it now openly. It used to be a conspiracy theory because they didn't want people talking about it, but it's out in the open now, just like the UFO stuff. Oh, well, that was just for conspiracy theorists. Now the government admits there's UFOs. Okay, so the same thing goes for the weather manipulation. Alex Jones was talking about it a long time ago. They said he was a kook, and now they admit that it actually exists, and they talk about it very openly now. It's openly talked about, with scientists, government, people that are trying to change the weather. They're trying to geoengineer the weather patterns because of something having to do with global warming. I don't know. It's really bizarre what they're doing. But they literally have planes that do this very regularly. And there's been lots of whistleblowers that have come out to try to say that this is wrong and exposing all these types of, campaigns where they send out these planes to do this. And you'll notice the chemtrails, they call them chemtrails, they're not vapor trails. People say, oh, those are just vapor trails. No, vapor trails disappear very quickly. A chemtrail leaves a line in the sky, and then it expands, and it turns into a very white cloud, a very long white cloud, and then it covers the whole sky. And usually there's a number of them all over the sky. And then the whole sky has like a haze of white, and it blocks out the sun. Okay, that's geoengineering. They're doing that on purpose. And what's in those clouds? Barium is in there. There's also something else I forget. Barium, and it ultimately falls to the ground. People are inhaling it. Who knows what they're putting in there? I know there is not chromium. I forget what the other major particle is, and they're heavy metals too. By the way, they're heavy metals. You can look it up if you're not familiar with that. It's all legit. Let's see what else we got going on here. I guess that's it, huh? Is that all we got? Let's see. There are hundreds of amateur meteorologists all reporting the same phenomenon. So let's look and see this.
Let's take a look at what's going on in California.
Let's see. And this is what I'm talking about. These are the signatures on radar that we're talking about here. So take a look.
Let's take a look at what's going on in California here. This is roughly where Vandenberg Air Force Base is. You see that emanating out towards the coast from there? Watch. Boom. See that right there? Those pulses that look like the Wi-Fi symbol. Yeah. That's microwave energy. It's coming down here as well, but it's a different pattern. You see that? They're shooting out into the ocean to dissipate any moisture that might be coming to save us from their heat wave that they're inducing. And you see this massive pulse going from east to west, and all these next-red towers here. But you can pull up on a map and see the positions and see how they're radiating. It's not birds, honey. It's not weather. See? Fixed position. You see the towers, the black in the center. All right? It's emanating outwards from that. We're being microwaved.
Yep. Were you able to see all that? Did I have that on the screen? I think I had that on the screen, didn't I? Oh, it was a little low. Shoot. Just so if you didn't see it, let me just do that again.
Out into the ocean to dissipate any moisture that might be coming to save us from their heat wave that they're inducing. And you see this massive pulse going from east to west, and all these next-red.
And there's a lot of people that do cover this, and this is legit. I mean, these are definite NEXRAD radar that you can look at and see these things. These are not natural. Some would say, oh, those are just birds. No, they're not birds. Those are a coordinated network of radar pulses that are going out, and they actually affect what's going on in our atmosphere, which directs energy, and it directs. It's like they're like a mini HARP system that's here right in the United States. Well, there's the other one is in Alaska, but the HARP actually, the main one is in Alaska, but they've got them all over the world, and they can alter the weather and they can direct storms depending on how they pulse them, and they also can energize storms as well. Okay, so this one is FEMA helicopters are blocking Greenville, South Carolina airport. Private citizens were flying aid to victims, and FEMA came and blocked the runway to stop them. Quote, we're at the airport today. Yesterday, they ran like 30-something planes, and FEMA has flown in like 10 or more helicopters and blocked a runway here in Greenville downtown. Completely took over or almost took over the operation. Maybe they're jealous. They got there kind of late, a lot of criticism. They got to try to redeem themselves.
What's happening? We're at the airport again. Well, we're at the airport today. Yesterday, they ran like 30-something planes, a bunch of trips up to Western North Carolina, Asheville, that whole area, wherever they can land and drop off supplies. And FEMA has flown in like 10 or more helicopters and blocked a runway here at Greenville downtown. Completely took over, or almost took over the operation, just because they're doing some good here. FEMA's going to come here and try to stop it. And they took over one of the hangars over here too. We'll show you as much as we can. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, here's the helicopters that are blocking one of the runways here at Greenville downtown. All flown in by FEMA helicopter pilots. And they're just sitting there doing nothing. And you have Greenville Aviation over here taking in all kind of supplies, everything that people want to drop off. There's a huge operation going on over here. Yesterday we ran about 30-something planes, or they did, I didn't fly anything, but just putting stuff in planes, taking it up to Asheville and other areas, and they came in and halted. FEMA came in and halted all that operation. And there they are, just sitting over there, doing nothing. When there's thousands of pounds of supplies over there that could be taken, they're just sitting there doing nothing. And blocking the runway with however many helicopters.
So you wonder why people are getting mad? Oh, well, we got some crazy people out there that are putting out misinformation, and it's causing problems for our people. They don't want to work. So this is getting very dangerous. You see how they turn it around, like they're incompetent or they're doing it on purpose, one or the other. And then when people start trying to help, then they block them, and it creates more anger. And then if there's any kind of response, then they're going to say it's extremists, and they're going to try to use that as a way to try to control the narrative by saying extremists are stopping FEMA from helping. Oh, the extremists are stopping us from helping the people. The extremists are stopping FEMA. So we have to take authority, and we gotta bring down martial law or something. Like let's just control the whole situation. But people are wondering why that this happened in this area. But there's a lot of lithium up there, a huge amount of lithium deposits that are being used for the whole world. And they're thinking that hardest hit area where all those mines are is one of the reasons why they wanted to do this. So, dangerous information. Yep. I guess that's what they're saying. All right, guys. I think that's about it for right now. Let's see if they're still going on here with the background stuff here. Let me see here really quickly here. Yeah, they're still showing that feed. I'm just going to keep that feed going on in the background. Let's see if I can find another one here. Let's see. Let's see if we can find a good one here. BEI. I'm spelling it wrong. You know what I want to find is an Iranian feed, a Tehran feed. In particular, the city where their nuclear facilities are. That's what I'd like to find. So this is I think this is a live feed right here. Yeah, this is okay. There's no sound on this one though. Let's see. We'll keep this thing going. You guys can hang out and chat and do whatever. I'll post it on our other networks there so that they know we're doing something over here. And back to the blue screen. I'm going to see if I can find some good feeds here really quick. Let's see if I can find some good feeds. It's so crazy how many Indian channels are on right now. They're it's like YouTube has been taken over by Indian channels. Masquerading as like CNN News 18. It's an Indian channel. It's not even CNN. It's really crazy. Okay, here we go. Here's a live feed in Beirut. This one is got a multiple cams. I like this feed. This kind of shows you what's going on in real time here.